Yeah, I'm not seeing it yet, David. Are you seeing it live? Yeah, I did a refresh too. Oh, it says, okay, we are live. Good to go, Eileen. We're finally live. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your help, David. Sorry for the delay, everyone.
No worries. Good evening. This is the meeting of the West Hartford Library Board. The meeting will come to order. Welcome to the October 24th, 2022 meeting of the West Hartford Library Board. My name is Eileen Daly, and I am the chair of the West Hartford Library Board. This meeting is being conducted in a virtual format in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act as, one moment please, as amended by Public Act number 21-2, which authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television at WHCI TV. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing and will be available on the town's website for at least 45 days. Since we are conducting this meeting in a virtual format, there are some rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute your device when you are not speaking. Excuse me. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order I see hands raised. If you are participating by audio only or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, all speakers must make a good faith effort to state the person's name and title at the outset of each occasion that such person participates in the meeting. Third, all votes must be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. Fourth, a reminder that if any, third, all votes must be taken by, Fourth, a reminder that if any participant has a problem with connectivity, you should immediately call Janet Valensis, whose phone number you were provided earlier on. Janet will let me know and we will recess the meeting while the problem is resolved. If it cannot be resolved quickly, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate via audio only. I will now call the roll and note the staff members who are present. Kim Cohen.
Cohen Library Board member present.
Gail Crockett. The other way. Unmute. Can you unmute? All right, well.
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Thank you.
Gail Crockett, Library Board member.
Here you are.
Present.
All right, terrific. Natalia Menjivar.
Natalia Menjivar, Library Board member present.
Thank you. Jill Spear.
Jill Spear, Library Board member present.
Also present tonight is Laura Irmscher, Office Operations Specialist, Janet Valensis, and that completes our roll. I will, I think that's it. We can get going. So, we've called to order. Public comment is the next item, which I'm not aware of any. Anyone else? No? Okay, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda for items 4, 8AI, and 8AII. Can we have a vote, please?
So move.
Okay, second, Kim? All right, so all approve? I see a show of hands.
Okay.
Mine's up. Okay, we've got 5 of us. So item 3 has been approved. The second by Kim. And we're all set with that. And we're going, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 29th, 2022 meeting?
Kim Cohen, library board member, and move. So moved.
Okay. I have a second. Talia?
Natalia Menjivar, library board member, second the approval of the minutes.
Thank you. And item 5 is the chair's report, which is has nothing for this month. Moving on to item 6 with old business. It's called the New Community Center and Library Project with Jill Spear and Laura Irmscher. So you're up.
Jill, I'm Laura Irmscher, Library Director. Jill, I'm not sure if you have anything to add in from the committee, but I want to just share how the project is going so far. We've been working with the architects to refine some of the concepts, and they've been hearing a lot from the community in different sessions. There was a survey on the project page website where people could add comments about some different layout options. And this week is a busy week. They have presentations coming up for the town council subcommittee. There's a community presentation and feedback session on Wednesday night, and then they're meeting with the advisory committee on Thursday night. So they are still on track to put together a report that is again, it's a feasibility study. So they're putting together what the building could look like, but this is not the design of the building. This is just to see how it would look, give the town a sense of the scale, how things go together, and for them to put together some cost estimates. So that's kind of where the project is so far. I didn't know if there's anything you wanted to add in, Jill.
No, we have, like you said, the committee has a meeting Thursday night, so we'll have more up-to-date information, but it's pretty much the conclusion of the feasibility study now.
Yeah, they're getting to the end of it. So it's getting, I think this is the last round of kind of community feedback sessions to make sure that there's, any opportunity for people who haven't been involved or to chime in. They're trying to cast as wide a net as possible to get feedback.
I guess the one thing I would add, I'm sorry, Library Board Member Jill Spear, the one thing I would add is that they're reaching out to the community and have posted a number of places, and hopefully by announcing here as well that the committee or the community will provide some input. As Laura said, it is a feasibility study, and the big thing they need the community to understand is, they've done due diligence on the site, the existing facilities, what are the requirements, and then putting the requirements up against the physical layout of the site and what's available, which can those requirements work well with, and which don't work well with at all, that sort of thing. So hopefully the community is listening, so that when it comes to the town council for a vote, they're well informed. And that's all I have to add.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's great. Jill or Laura, can you give us a better sense of what by your estimation, the community involvement has been cross town in different neighborhoods? Are you seeing ample representation of different people from different neighborhoods or sectors or groups in town in terms of input?
I can start, Laura Irmscher, Library Director. That might be difficult for me to answer because I'm not as familiar with the community members, so I don't know where they're coming to. When I see people at the meetings, I'm not necessarily familiar with what neighborhoods they're from. There have been people who've attended the community meetings. There have been people we had a virtual meeting a couple weeks ago that some people attended, and there were survey comments that like we didn't ask people to identify themselves or a group, so it was hard to tell where some of those comments were coming from. I personally would love to hear more from the community. I mean, I think we're doing the best we can to get the word out, but I wouldn't say there are huge droves coming to these meetings. So I think there's opportunity for more people, but I don't know how, at a study stage, I think it's challenging to get people to come to a meeting, to give up their evenings. So it's kind of, we're trying to do what we can, but I think that there's an opportunity for more people to participate. Does that answer your question?
I think so, sort of. I mean, I know the senior center here in Bishop's Corner invited town manager Ludwig to come and talk about, and they had like 125. No, I'm sorry, excuse me, wrong group. They had 56 people show up, which was a lot. You know, it was at like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and he had to leave, unfortunately, early. So had he stayed, they probably would have kept him another hour. So I'm just trying to, I think they've done a great job with getting the word out, you know, about the meetings, whether it's in WeHot or online, or I've seen notices posted here and there. And I think you're right, getting people to come out in the evening is always challenging, right? And now that we're in the quote fall season and we have RSV and COVID and whatever the other new strain is, and influenza in the air, you know, I think people are probably, you know, dialing back their public appearance participation. So, but at the end of the day, I think the word, at least I have a sense that they've done a great job with, you know, getting the word out about when they're having meetings and inviting people.
Eileen, Jill Spear, library board member.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. If I could just comment back to it, I want to stress the point that Laura made. I think the working group has done a good job of posting invitations and getting themselves invited to groups and et cetera, et cetera. To Laura's point, this is the feasibility study. And even while the questions are all over the place, you know, when you go to one of these meetings, because people are going to talk about, you know, the bathrooms or the, you know, how am I going to share this, or can I park this way, which is fine, because there, you know, you want that, you want those requirements to come out. But I think until the conversation will change, I believe, once the feasibility study is concluded with a recommendation to the town council and money's on the line with the direction. And then I think you will get more people, different people perhaps, who will comment, who maybe didn't take the opportunity. But I want to stress, I think they've done a good job of trying to put invitations and attending open forums and community meetings and, you know, going to the marketplace and whatever. You know, it's whether people are willing to take the time to think about it. You know, maybe it will, as Laura says, become more real to them. And by the way, all that said, you know, like you commented, Gail, these meetings aren't, you know, one or two people. You know, they're not 60,000 people, you know, at a meeting. They're not the full town population. But, you know, I think they've got a good sense, I think. And we'll hear more on Thursday night at our committee meeting. So,
thank you both.
Everyone else set? Or is there anything else? Okay. Moving on to item 7. Sub-item A will be presented at next month's meeting. So moving on to sub-item B for 2022.
Oh, Eileen, I'm sorry. If I could interject, item A is, it was included in this month's packet. You and I might have had miscommunication about it. I didn't have the dates when we were putting together the agenda, but it was included in this month's packet of proposed meeting dates for the board for 2023.
Okay, so we have them somewhere. Okay. I have to apologize for not having it in front of me. So I realize I'm on town television, and if you have it in front of you, Laura,
Would you like me to share my screen and put it up?
of course, that would be lovely. Thank you.
And Eileen, I just sent the link to the document in the chat session for people.
Thank you.
Jill.
Oh.
Oh. Actually, I'm not able to share my screen, so if you can check the link, that would probably be the best way.
Yes, I'm trying that right now. Oh, so I have this already. I just thought it wasn't.
So this is the draft based on your like your previous pattern of meetings, and so this is just the list of
Right.
how it would fall. And so I don't know if you all vote on the meeting dates, if it's an official vote, or if you just confirm that those are the dates you're going to have the meeting, and then if something comes up, you can change it later. But this is the plan for the coming year.
Well, right. I have in front of me, what I have is a draft 2022-2023 holiday and Sunday schedule. But doesn't cover board meeting dates.
Oh, that's
that's why.
That's a different topic. Let me double check. I thought it was in the packet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong link.
That's okay, Jill. That you clicked one is terrific.
I grabbed the wrong one because they're both out there.
Things have been topsy-turvy here, so this slipped through the cracks, and I apologize to everyone. So.
Yeah, and I'm sorry because I thought it was in there. I'm not seeing it now too. So give me
not on you.
Find it.
It's on me. So.
I don't see it on our share. I see this one, but not the other one, not the board meeting.
I'm wondering if this is something that we can share with the board and you can confirm at the next meeting since we don't have the dates in front of us.
Right, that's what I was intending.
I'm sorry, you said that.
No, it's not your fault.
Eileen, if I can comment, just a reminder, I'm sure Janet will remind us. Just remember, we have a November meeting, and so I believe usually the board meeting, the official boards and commissions have to submit before January their calendar year for the next year.
Of course. Oh, yes. No, I
the November meeting, and it is a voted item, Laura?
Yes, I can see that, and I appreciate the heads up for the deadline, and certainly would have. I have no other thing that it's been topsy-turvy here because of some family stuff, and so we will take care of it at that point.
We have plenty of time. We have a whole month.
Yeah. All right. So if we could just move on to sub item B, which I had up. And what did I do with that? That's for you, Laura, actually. Holiday and Sunday schedule for the library?
Yes, Laura Irmscher, Library Director. So this is the, I have a proposed modification to a few holidays for this calendar year and then looking at next year. So just to point out a few things for you, for the end of this year, so the first date on the list is November 23rd, which is the day before Thanksgiving. Typically, the main library is open until 8 that day. I'm proposing that we close at 4:30, which is something that we've done in previous years. And then we have regular hours the day after Thanksgiving, a typical Friday. The next holiday is December 24th, which is Christmas Eve, which is a Saturday. And I'm proposing that we're open from 10 to 1 instead of the full day. It's pretty challenging to be able to staff the full day before the holiday. And that way we can still provide some service before going into the holiday break. But then the following Saturday is New Year's Eve. And since activities and things usually happen at night, we don't anticipate an issue staffing the entire day. So I'm seeking your approval for those schedule modifications for this year. And then also in the document are our proposed Sundays. The budget for our current fiscal year allows for 10 Sundays to be open. So we are proposing that we would be open from 12 to 4, which seems to be the best time for people to come in, the time that they want to use the library the most. In the past, we've been open till 5, but attendance seems to kind of trickle off in the evenings. So we're proposing 10 to 4, starting January 22nd and going straight through, but not being open the Sunday before President's Day, skipping that one. So we would go January 22nd through April 2nd of 2023, this fiscal year. I'll pause because I think there's a question, Natalia.
Yeah, Laura, Natalia Manhoover, our library board member. I know you said 10 to 4. It's on the sheet as 12 to 4.
I meant 12 to 4.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
just wanted to clarify. That's all right. Thank you.
Thanks for catching that. And then just to continue on the end of that is the list of town holidays that the library observes, that the town HR department sent out to all of us. These are the days that the town hall will be closed, and I believe the library typically follows suit. And I'll point out that in 2023, the town is observing Juneteenth. So that's a new holiday that's added to the list that you've probably seen before. And I believe we would need a vote to approve this schedule for the library's operation.
All righty, sounds great. Tim?
Tim Cohen, library board member. I move to adopt the proposed schedule.
All right, Joe?
Library board member, I second.
Okay. All approved? All in favor? Okay, everyone is. So the motion passes. And thank you very much. Sorry for the ring. So moving on, there's Laura has sub-item C for the policy review calendar. Laura?
Laura Irmscher, Library Director. So this is something that's hopefully in response to what I've heard from the board in the past. I've heard that you have wanted to have an opportunity to review the library's policies and make sure that they are up to date. So I took a look at all of the policies we have, and I put together the list of the date that it was last either adopted or revised. And then just looking at if we wanted to review the policy every 3 years or so, I just kind of broke it into thirds and attached a year to when we would review it, just starting with the oldest and working our way forward. I did change a couple things because I thought I had heard you have some questions or issues with some other policies that I brought earlier on the list. And so this is, I don't think this would be very firmly set in stone. This is just an example for you of how I would look at reviewing these policies. We would want to consider, are they relevant? Are they still covering what we need them to do? Is there anything that's changed about that situation that needs to be considered and maybe modified for the policy? Certainly me looking at them and seeing how the library operates over the last several months, I think there's an opportunity to consolidate some of these. There's some things that overlap, or some things that might actually be more guidelines and procedures than policy, that more of an overarching policy statement might be able to cover some of these things. So I would be working with you and looking at all of those things. And I think this is also an opportunity to work with the town's diversity, equity, and inclusion team and make sure that we are looking at these policies through an equity lens, and that we are not putting up any unnecessary barriers to library service. And so this is how I would look at, spreading out the work and not trying to tackle all of the policies at once. Certainly if the board wanted us to work on any policies sooner, I'm happy to make any modifications to the calendar, but I thought this might be a helpful way to show how we can work through the list. And then once we go through this, if there are some consolidation, we can set dates for looking at them again in the future to make sure they stay up to date.
Sounds good. Anyone have anything to add?
Spear, library board member. Everything you're saying, Laura, is in alignment with what that's our approach. So, and Janet's been keeping generally a spreadsheet. And I can't remember how many years ago, Janet might remember, where the library board passed decision that all policies would review on a periodic basis, even if there was an incident, was not anything to prompt it. But if there was something to prompt it, you know, whether it's an incident, whether it's new laws or just something comes up, that just overrides the review schedule. So everything you're saying is in alignment. And there are some ones that we talked about that are probably based on some things that came up during the pandemic that, you know, are potentially a little rustier and need attention again.
Well done. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to item 8, director's reports. Laura?
Thank you, Laura Irmscher, Library Director. So I wanted to give you a few updates on what's been going on at the library and some things we have coming up. So first up is our Kindness Project. In November, we're kicking off our 6th annual Kindness Project, and we'll be collecting donations to help the community members in need. This year, the Mayor's Youth Council will be working with library staff to collect hygiene products and other items to distribute at the West Hartford Food Pantry, the Universalist Church, and other partners. We also received a donation of 20 Dignity totes from Dignity Grows. These totes contain 1 month's worth of feminine hygiene products and will be distributed as part of the Kindness Project. We'll be taking donations starting November 14th through December 16th at all our library locations. Under community outreach, we've had some staff going out into the community to talk about library services. Anne Marie, our head of circulation, visited the Court of St. James, which is an independent living community for seniors near the West Hartford Center. She gave a presentation on how to organize and run a book discussion group and delivered their first book group kit a few days after her visit. The group was very excited to learn about the library's resources, and they're looking forward to getting their book group up and running. Carol also visited the Charter Oak Family Resource Center. She registered families for library cards, and she also shared information about our Welcome Baby program, and hopefully we'll be having some new babies come on board with that. And we kicked off our Celebrate All of Us initiative. And you may be familiar with this because you're probably hearing about it before I got here even. This is a year-long initiative celebrating cultures around the world. This series is funded by the Kilfoyle Bequest. It was originally planned for 2021, but was delayed due to the pandemic. And so we're very happy to finally be launching it. In September, we had a day of dance in Blueback Square with West Africa dance and country line dancing. And next week, we're having a virtual program on what we don't understand about Islam. And in a few weeks, we're partnering with First Church to host Thunderbird American Indian dancers. We have programs scheduled up through next spring. They're listed on our website, and we're still filling out more slots that fit under the theme of Celebrate All of Us. But we're very happy to have this initiative underway, and we're excited to see all the different types of programs that our staff are putting together, and we've gotten a great response from the public so far. So those are my updates. I'm happy to answer any questions or give you any more information if you'd like.
Gail?
Gail Crockett, Library Board Member. So Laura, did you already tell us that you paid a visit to Wasco and did a presentation?
I didn't. I should have included that in my report.
About your own community outreach.
Thank you, Gail. I had the pleasure of visiting Wasco for one of their meetings. They had it at the library board, the library in our meeting room. And it was nice for me because I got to sit in on the meeting and hear about all the different things going on with the group. And then I was able to share some information about library services. And it was really fun because after the meeting, several members came up and followed up with me and had more questions. They were very excited about the tech help and the instruction opportunities we have. And I've heard from some members since the meeting, they followed up. One of them came in when I was on the reference desk and I had a nice chat with her. Another one emailed me. So it was a great meeting. And I was really excited to see the enthusiasm of the group. And thank you, Gail, for helping to make that happen.
Well, and thank you for being, they thoroughly enjoyed your presentation, and there were many things that you mentioned they didn't know about, and they were excited. So that's the kind of get out and touch and reach people that works so well, you know, that personal contact with groups. Thank you.
And if any of you are aware of other groups that would like a visit from a library staff member, we're trying to do these whenever possible. It's more of a slow rollout, but I'm trying to put some structure around it. So we have a team of people to call on to do some outreach. But if there's an opportunity that you know of, please don't be shy to send it my way. We'd love to talk to people about the library.
Mm-hmm. Gail?
One final thing. I'm sorry, because I know I wrote to both you and Laura. So library tours, did you used to do them? Is it something you could do for the public? You know, I sent you guys an email and said, hey, how about maybe periodically doing library tours for the public, particularly for new families who've moved into the community, or just people who've been here and don't know their way around the library? Like me.
That's certainly something to you. Yes. Certainly something to consider. I don't know if that's part of like any welcome packages for new residents or anything like that, if they mention the library.
Well, they may mention it, but I'm not aware of anybody coming to tour the library. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Correct me. I'm just thinking of ways that we keep getting the library and its services and what we do more well known in the community. You know what I'm saying? Is like, you bring your kids, your family or visitors, especially during the holidays. You know, people are always looking for something to do. And we have so much information in our library, I mean, historic and everything. So I just had to ask that question. Laura, is that something that's doable?
It's
every once in a while or whatever?
Definitely doable. It's not something we have in place now other than kind of an impromptu thing. Occasionally we'll do it with a school group here and there, but I think there's a lot more that we can do, and I think it's a great suggestion.
Thank you. Okay.
Natalia.
Natalia Menjivar, our library board member. Gail, I just want to piggyback on that and say what a fabulous idea that is, because even for families or individuals who use the library regularly, you kind of get stuck in a rut and you always do the same routine, go to the same places, but the library is expansive and it has so many services in different areas that unless you are actually showing where everything is and what the different features are, whether it's in the children's or adult or whatnot, I don't think you would really know. And so I think I highly stand behind the idea of tours for, you know, current patrons and prospective or new members to the community. I think that's terrific. Home run.
On library, to piggyback on that, I think also the idea of a digital tour, you know, showing people all the electronic resources, because that can be overwhelming, and particularly those who are not more tech savvy to begin with. There's a lot of databases and, you know, all the content for different TV shows and periodicals and stuff. There's just so much there, you know, you can't even remember it all. So helping, you know, people know how much is there in the not physical space as well.
Very good idea. And Natalia?
Natalia Menjivar, our library board member. Of course, I got to piggyback on that one too, Kim. Digital. You got the digital tour, but you also have the virtual tour. So see? So if it's not in person, you can watch the video beforehand and see all the different spaces physically in the library. But I think the digital tour is a terrific idea too.
And I promise, Gail Crockett, library board member. And I just want to say, if you need a library board member to show up for a tour or participate somewhere, I'm offering my availability. So to help in whatever capacity, meet and greet, whatever.
And there's your staffing, Laura. Well, that sounds terrific. Let's see where we are. All right, it looks like we're wrapping up. So, unless anyone has anything else to say or add, I will call, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move. Gail Crockett, library board member, so move the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. And the second, Natalia?
Natalia Menjivar, library board member, second motion to adjourn.
Thank you. And then the next meeting will be November 28th when we see you all. Jill?
No, I just was waiting for you to vote. I was ready to vote too.
Oh, yes, the roll call. Let's see that show of hands. All right, everyone, we're all set now. We're official. So I hope you have a good month. Whoops. And I'll see you soon around town. Thank you for everything.
Stay well.
Bye
Happy
now.
Halloween.
Oh, yes.
Happy Halloween. Boo.
Happy Halloween, Gail.
Alrighty. Bye.